Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our session, The Future of Mobility, fueled by green partnerships and co-creations. Smart city and especially the field of mobility are quite complex topics, especially when it comes to combating climate change and pushing for sustainable mobility solutions in our cities and suburbs. While still focusing equally on economic goals, the current flood disaster in Germany also affected the city of Aachen and showed all of us how urgent we need to fight climate change and that we should work together towards the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. Our panellists will discuss their approaches for addressing those challenges in the city of Aachen and which success factors are crucial. Please welcome today Frauke Bergdorf, Urban Planning Councillor of the City of Aachen, Roman von der Lohe, Key Account Manager of the Digital Hub Aachen, Stephanie Horn, a Smart City and Mobility Expert, Fujitsu, Germany. Welcome all. Frau Bergdorf, would you please tell us a bit about which main goals in the field of sustainable mobility in Aachen and which role plays the cooperation with the Digital Hub Aachen and corporations such as Fujitsu?
Yeah, hello. Nice having me, or thank you for having me here on the video. So I'm trying to make a complex story short. So we have two goals. The one is to cope with the climate change into climate resilience. And the other one is to avoid more climate affection. Both is in my responsibility if it comes down to traffic. And I'm responsible for the planning of the mobility on the one hand, that means streets and buses and everything. And I'm in charge of planning the streets and building the streets. So both are quite important for the upcoming challenges we have to cope with. What I think is that digitization is very, very important for a change in mobility because we need a broad database, and we don't have it yet, a broad database that we can analyze how people move from one place to another to make it more effective. This is very important. But not only the move itself, but the parking is very important for us too, because most of the cars are standing 23 hours a day or 22 hours a day in the streets. So we have to change this too. And therefore, we need digital tools and the help of the digital world. But where we have very good cooperation, for example, with Fujitsu, is where we work together with the ASEAC. This is our bus cooperation partner, and the Better Mobility. This is the app where we can that we can use to move through different mobility parts, and we want to do it this way that we have a real-time tool where we can react on change of weather, or we can react on change of traffic directly, and offer the user of mobility different ways, which kind of mobility he or she uses now. That means we have to use huge data amounts to make this real, and therefore we need quantum computing, because we can't cope the data masses anymore on the conservative path. So this is a good cooperation we are trying to develop, but we have small corporations too with the digital world. One very charming is the Ride Up app, where we give our inhabitants the chance to collect miles on driving the bicycle, and with good and large amounts of collected miles, they can change the miles into a cup of coffee or in a theater evening or something. So this is the other side. So we have the fun side of it and the motivation side, and we have the infrastructural side of digitization that helps us a lot. And we think that the Digital Hub gives us access to those partners who can help us coping the challenges concerning the mobility move we have to make if we look to the greater challenge of climate change.
Roman, from the perspective of the Digital Hub Aachen, what do we need to do in order to reach the SDGs, and what role does the Hub want to play in its cooperation with Fujitsu?
Yes, thank you very much having me here today in this session. And I'm happy to give you a brief background of what is the Digital Hub in Aachen doing and where we are coming from. So we are founded by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, and our mission is to help small, medium enterprises and cities the way of digital transformation. Coming back to the SDGs and what do we need in order to reach the SDGs, yeah, just for the background. So in the beginning have been mentioned that there was a flood disaster in Aachen, and it's a sort of time to act now. Personally, I'm living in a nature reserve, and due to the fact that there was no data and no sensors installed, there was no warning, and so my house was flooded, and this shows me again that we need to start to bring in some data, and Ms. Burgdorf also mentioned collecting data, and there will be more data in order to have a better warning in the future, to have a better overview what is happening in nature and what do we need to do in order to prevent these things in future. So the importance to engage in cross-sectional ecosystem in Aachen, I have been looking to the SDGs, and I can see the SDG 11 is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, vibrant, and sustainable, and the SDG 13 take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. This is where we should have a brief look inside, and so sustainability is one of the things that you can where you can use digitization in order to have a better understanding what is happening. So we have half of our members are small, medium enterprises, and what we can see is that more and more companies are looking into sustainability, not only in their products and in their production line, but also where is the sustainability looking into their employees, how they are coming to work, how they are driving, are they using buses, are they using cars? And so we have a good example in our association where one of our members has installed a sustainability dashboard, and this is also very important to bring back to Fujitsu and to the Stadt Aachen. So they have encountered that the biggest impact on carbon dioxide is done by the employees when they are going to work or when they are riding to work. So this is something, this is very important, and what we can see and what we can do is to have this best practice and go out into our members and to go out into economic associations and to show what you can do with the dashboard. But for a dashboard, this is very important, and I mentioned before, you need to collect data. So therefore, we are also having the idea and have been talking to Fujitsu, and so we have chosen the Manage Now data platform for our members. So we are currently installing the Manage Now data platform, and we want to invite our members to bring in their data to just to give it for free to other members, just to have the data inside the platform, and then to see if you combine data from cars or from companies or from buses with other data, what will be the output and what you can see in order maybe to see where you can improve and so sustainability, and just to do this is important. And Ms. Burgdorf also mentioned Write Up is doing this already now, and so we have the regional startups that we can bring together with the small medium enterprises here in the region, and we see that the digital startups that we have a quite better view on data and how to analyze data, and this is very good to show to the companies. And where we are supporting Fujitsu in our association, our club, is that we make the contact on the one side to the startups that Fujitsu can use and see how the startups today are working, what are the ideas, where, and especially auch even that Fujitsu can see where can they support the startups.
Stephanie, you're responsible for Fujitsu's partnership with the Digital Hub Aachen and a smart city and mobility expert at Fujitsu Germany. Now, from your point of view, why is such an engagement so important, and what benefits have you already seen after around a year of this official partnership?
Thank you for that question. Well, first of all, I would like to express my excitement and especially also my gratitude on how much we already achieved together in the city of Aachen. So I want to take this moment and say thank you very much. But back to your question, I see quite a lot of benefits from our partnership with the Digital Hub, but also, of course, with the city of Aachen. And I think one major benefit is that we are constantly learning inside of our pilot projects, which we are carrying out together in several co-creation workshops, and of course also during events and during informal conversations. And for us, this is very helpful because it enables ourselves to constantly inspect and adapt our own services and solutions, and enables us to solve real-world problems. Also, something that was just mentioned by Roman is we started to collaborate with local startups in Aachen. That's another huge benefit for us. And those partnerships are based on trust and transparency. And it's crucial to us that those are win-win situations for both sides. And those collaborations bring us as Fujitsu speed, new innovative ideas, and of course, also new joint projects. And one example is the startup, which is called Sonar, and their smart parking offering. And we are already working together also in other areas of Germany, not only in Aachen. Another benefit that I see is that we are able now to generate real innovation by practicing co-creation in cross-sectoral ecosystems. This is also something that Roman just mentioned, and it's really important for all of us. And in those ecosystems, we engage with the Digital Hub, with different departments of the city, but also with local mobility providers, with startups. And we are also trying to incorporate citizens and their opinions. And that makes it possible to tackle really tough challenges which we are facing in the field of sustainable mobility. And those are challenges which no one can solve on their own. And I want to stress something. Real innovation needs diversity and multiple perspectives. And this is something we're practicing together. Another benefit is that we started to build together scalable solutions. And we are adhering to the philosophy, think big, start small, and learn fast. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this approach. And at this point, I would like to give some kind of advice and to add something to this philosophy. When you're working in the public sector, it's very important to be patient and to develop stamina. Why? Because something that we are learning is that many cities are only at the beginning of this major transformation process. And in Germany, we are often facing slow processes and sadly, also lots of bureaucracy. At this point, I would like to give an example of a pilot project that we carried out and where we are entering now in the next phases. We entered an innovation partnership with the Waste Department of Aachen. In German, they are called Stadtbetriebe. And this project is about bulky waste. What is bulky waste? That's waste that people put in stuff of their houses. Mostly things like old sofas, chairs, electronic devices, which they don't need anymore. And they are getting picked up by special trucks. And in this project, we apply artificial intelligence and image recognition, and also the digital annealer technology from Fujitsu. This was also just mentioned. This is a bridging technology to quantum computing. We are also calling this KIOS, which means quantum-inspired optimization services. And what's the overall goal of this project? The overall goal is raising recycling rates within the bulky waste. And that means that waste should be used again and not be thrown away forever. And of course, citizens should be more happy with an easy-to-use process inside of an app. One other benefit that I want to mention is that we are fostering citizen participation and therefore solutions which are actually needed in the real world. And we are doing this with a digital innovation platform, which we call FIP. And this is something that helps cities to harvest the creative potential within our society and to really understand the real world problems and the needs when it comes to mobility. And in Aachen, we also carried out a small pilot project with this platform.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now, to close our session, I'd like to ask all of you to share a call to action briefly in a sentence or two, directed at those who want to shape our cities and our regions for the purpose of a sustainable future. And if I could start with you, Frauke Bergdorf first.
It's not so easy to give one call to action for a complex problem. What I would love to work with you and others working in the Digital Hub is I would love to work on behavior, because I'm convinced that if we don't change the mindset of the people using mobility, and we don't change or give good triggers for better mobility, then we will fail. So it's not only about technology, it's about behavior, and how do we find out for which reasons people use SDG mobility, I would say. So if we could get closer and get some answers here, I would be very curious, because I'm convinced that this is one of the main things we have to find out to get a bigger change.
And what about you, Roman?
Thank you. And of course, behavior is one of the things. But I'm from the digitization people, and I want to ask everybody to be open, to be transparent, and to be curious, and especially stay curious and infect others with curiosity. In what I can see working with about 400 members and startups and SMEs, it's not always to have a give and get. From what I can see is sometimes a give is something very important thing. And you can expect, if you do something good for somebody else, you will get something good back.
And Stephanie?
I would like to add maybe another aspect. So when you are building new business models in the field of mobility or any other business area, please give economic goals and the sustainable development goals the same importance. From my point of view, this is the only way to make sure that the next generation has a healthy planet to live on.
Thank you all very much for your contribution. Now, thanks to our panellists for all those valuable insights, and thanks to our audience for your attention. If this session sparked your interest, please do get in touch with us. You can find out more using the link on the screen. And thank you very much, and stay tuned for more information on how our smart city and mobility projects in Aachen and Germany will evolve. Thank you for watching.